are Tyrians. We are many races, several professions. We practice the arts of combat as well as healing. We have foes, and we fight them without mercy. And it's time for us to claim back what is ours. It's time for us to claim back Tyria from the terror of the Elder Dragons. We can't go on living our lives in fear. We have to fight. We have to make a stand. This is our story.
Helps if I unmute my mic. So again, welcome everyone to the 41st episode of the Chronicles of Tyria podcast, a Guild Wars 2 podcast for fans, by fans. Yeah, since Casey couldn't be here this time yet again, I decided to channel Casey by muting my microphone and talking, although I caught it much earlier. So there you go. So thank you to everyone who's come out and is viewing us here live in the chat. Looks like I've got actually quite a few people here, 12 people. A lot of guildies, so thank you for coming to check out the show. Again, just me today. Casey's still busy working on the new house. She hasn't officially gotten all of the when you get a new house, you got to move in, and there's actually some renovations they're doing. So she's busy with that. Hopefully, she'll be back next Thursday. If not, it'll be more me. So, in the meantime, if you're noticing this new look that we kind of have going on here, that is 100%. All thanks to our own Jolinar, who is a great 3D and artist type person. She made our 3D intro that you saw me play earlier, with the spinny book, and she made this for me on a pretty fast turnaround so that I'd have something better than just black backgrounds, and that was making noises. So, since I was looking through news and things that kind of jumped out at me for, what's it called, for Guild Wars this week for the COT Weekly, but a lot of the stuff, sorry, I'm getting messages all over the place. But a lot of it's all related to the Super Adventure Box, which is kind of what I'm planning on talking about today, because it's awesome. I know, Claire, I'm sorry. It's for the show, though. It's related to the show, the Facebook chats. So, yeah. Just looking through, make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm sorry for talking like this. Okay. God. Thank you for Facebook chatting me, Joel. Thanks for that. Closing down Facebook. But anyway, I just wanted to take a quick look through, make sure there was no news that I didn't have planned out. But again, I'm going to be talking about the Super Adventure Box today, so I'm going to save that for the main content of the show. So, right, let's start off with some attendance for this week. So let me make sure I got everyone here. Capture that. I think I do, but oh, here's another one. So, oh, Zenchu, you snuck in there at the beginning, and I missed you there. I'll get you. And all right, let me just check for the question of the week. Although last week, I don't think we got an answer for that either. So, you know, it happens. Last week's question of the week, I don't even remember what it was. I feel bad. But I don't feel bad because nobody answered it. So that will have to be that. So we're gonna move on. No mail, so no mailbag for this week. I shouted out to Joel a little bit earlier. For those of you who kind of just came in, the whole new border that you see around the outside there, that is all her. So thank you very much for that. And as far as other shout-outs, check under here. Nope, I don't have any shout-outs. However, as those of you who are in our guild may know, we've been instilling this participation awards that we're going to be drawing a monthly raffle for people who show up to a certain number of our guild activities. Well, the month of March ended, and we had several people who met the required participation. So we will be drawing it live here on the internet, on the podcast, for everyone to see. I'd like to also point out to Suki or Sukena, who is in our guild. She won for the most participation in any event. Joel and R actually had it, but she decided to step down because she's just nice. So it goes to Suki. However, we are going to be doing the drawing live here on the show, and my lovely wife is going to help with that. So if you want to come on over here, Claire, and just hold this just like that. And just to prove to everybody, I'm going to show you that I put everybody's names on here that actually got in. So there's Brahms going in. There's Sukena going in. And there's Reaper. Joel. Ooh, I scrolled up in the chat and I've been missing everything you guys have been saying. Memory burn. And that's... double check that that's everybody. Yep. That is it. Okay. Close it up. Nothing. So, you want to go ahead and do the honors, Claire? We'll see who wins. The winner is... wow! Suki is lucky. She wins yet again. She wins the not only the participation award, but the monthly raffle. Thank you, hon. That was very helpful. So, there we go. Now I can take these out of here. I know, and I saw Claire's comment here, Al Cardellina. Yeah, I was going to put sound in here so that when you open it, it makes the Zelda sound. I just haven't gotten around to it. Although, for you Zelda fans, it does house the Ocarina of Time. So, there's that. Okay. So anyway, back to the show. That was a nice little distraction. Kind of like that. Suki, you can be looking for your mail in Guild, or in Guild Wars. I'll be sending you a mail with both of your rewards, along with a little congratulatory mail text. I'll also be posting it on the forums for everybody to see there, and on our Facebook page. So be sure to check that out. So on to the actual discussion of today, which is the Super Adventure Box. So, if you've been following Guild Wars for any kind of lengthy period of time, you know that April Fool's Day is actually quite a big deal for them. And I know it's kind of a big deal with a lot of games I know, a lot of companies will put out fake posts on their Facebook page or on their website and things like that. I got sincerely upset when I thought for real that Nintendo was going to be offering certain college courses you could get a degree in Pokemon Mastery, and when I found out that it was April Fool's Day, I was sad. So, let's see. Actually, Robovin here in the chat, my buddy, he's asking if anybody saw the awesome 80s commercial that ArenaNet did for Super Adventure Box, which I kind of mentioned it to some other people. Maybe it was even no, it was, I forget who I was talking to, but reminded me a lot of if you ever had the old Tiger electronic handheld games that had like the LCD screen where like you'd have little sprites that would move and you'd have like a D-pad and like 2 or 3 buttons. That it just took me right back to all of those, and I remember just wanting to have all of them, and it was they were pretty great. So, you know what? Let's see. I'm breaking out of my mold, as those of you remember my streaming skills were a little bit limited last time. So let's see if I can't do this.
Come on. Almost. Finally, yeah!
Victory is ours!
Whoa, Whitlock Brimstone!
Now, the journey continues with the Super Adventure Box. Travel through a strange world of great danger and mesmerizing beauty.
Awesome graphics!
You'll need lightning reflexes, nerves of steel,
Stop the graphics!
and the heart of a warrior. Farewell, the fate of Tyria is in your hands. Live the saga of Guild Wars 2 on your Super Adventure Box from ArenaNet. Your parents help you look it up.
So I'm learning. That I can't believe they did that. That was, I feel like that alone, just that video, blew all previous Guild Wars April Fool's content out of the water. And I love some of the previous content that they did. I loved the Commando for Guild Wars 2. I liked the Minstrel joke. I loved all the stuff from the past of the Terminator style, going into pre-searing in Guild Wars 1. But yeah, this by far. And also, why can't we get that sweet Ritlock Brimstone costume somewhere, even for an obscene amount of money? Because I know I would want one, because how cool is that? And also, why do they only make a Ritlock one? Why don't they have other cool ones for, the other races or the other characters of Destiny's Edge? I think that it would be awesome. Or like maybe if I'm assuming someone had to make it, obviously. So how about a tutorial for those of us costumers, cosplayers out there that like to do our own things? How about a tutorial or at least a parts list so we could make our own? I think that would be awesome. Yes, okay. I'll agree with some of our members here in the chat. No one else is cool, because no one would fit in a Zoja/Air costume. Okay, maybe we will as there's more expansions and things. And oh, you know what? That is a great idea. The collector's Ritlock over here. if there were expansions, they'd make other statuettes for the other members of Destiny's Edge. That would actually be really cool. I wouldn't mind like a little cave because she wouldn't talk and therefore ruin all the potential of how great a character she could have been. She would just be silent and maybe look cool. Maybe not. I don't know. So yeah. Sorry, back to the content. I just totally nostalgia'd out. So, alright. So, again, this April Fool's brought around the Super Adventure Box, and if you haven't been in it, and you do play Guild Wars enough to want to watch this podcast, do yourself a favor and go check it out, especially if you're a fan of old games, because it's just everything that I remember from playing, my original Nintendo back in the day, all the pixelated things, a lot of original Zelda type elements. That's what I remember, blowing up walls with the bombs the sprite almost looks exactly like a Zelda bomb. Digging for useless things, which kind of reminds me of the Legend of Zelda. I think it was the one for the Game Boy, where you could dig, you'd find shells. It's just... Oh, and for those of you that were in our guild or knew about the really cool ability to use the whip to pull the baubles out of the chests when they were locked, they fixed that. So that's a bummer. Link's Awakening, thank you for the Game Boy. Al Carolina says, it does classic gaming too well, however it needs the hard mode first, and for that to be the only difficulty. Yes, for those of you who also I'm sure have seen it, there's a little white cloud when you walk in that enables infantile mode, which makes rainbows that pretty much lead you through the entire level, and takes most of any of the jumping difficulty out. But if you were to jump up to the top, you can kind of almost see it if you move far enough back and look up over where the white cloud is. There's a gray storm cloud that's crying like a grumpy cloud. And it's been confirmed from ArenaNet that, yes, there is a plan to put a hard mode or grumpy mode or whatever you want to call it in the game. But they kind of had to scrap it for just being able to get the content out to us, period. But they do plan to implement that in the game permanently, or, in the game. So definitely check that out. Also, I'd like to encourage anybody who has played it, if you want it to be a permanent fixture, I would highly recommend that you message ArenaNet, get your opinion to them somehow about how much you like it and that you want it to stay in the game permanently. Because, as we all know, we were promised 5 activities, in the 5 racial cities from the beginning, and we have 1. We have Keg Brawl in Holbrack, and we have an area for Polymock that we can't get to. We have a shooting range that's constantly been rented out by Minister Caudicus, and we have the achievements for the Bar Brawl in Holbrack. We have nothing in the Caledon or in the Grove, and now we have Super Adventure Box, so maybe it'll stay. This does going to stay around for the whole month of April. They are planning on adding additional worlds over time, and I believe it's going to be 4 worlds total, because we did World 1, and you can get to the start of World 2, which is that weird kind of like, I'm going to say kind of like western-y, desert-y, with the rapids and everything, and all the waterfalls. That's World 2, Level 1, or Zone 1, but it's in there, but it's not fully created yet, so they're working on that. But there will be additional, if you kind of go, when you progress from a level, or if you hit M and bring up the map, you can see how eventually, how much space there is and how much we're going to get. But if you, like I said, if you're looking at the loading screen where the little quill is moving from world to world, you can see there's like a cloud area, and way up in the top corner is a bad guy whose name escapes me. So, he's obviously going to be the last thing we fight. So, is his name just Boss? I wasn't paying attention to that part. I do want to point out that probably one of my favorite things is the name of the princess and the name of the guy who lets you into the Super Adventure Box and helps you. If you put those, it's Moto is the guy that helps, who allows you access to the Super Adventure Box. There's also the little sprite that helps you. But the princess's name is Mia. So you got Miyamoto. Boom. Think about that. There you go. Miyamoto. So, because my streaming capability is slowly increasing here, let's see what I can do here. So, this here is ArenaNet's kind of little, they have a very short little thing about when they're coming out, when Super Adventure Box came out, but I actually would recommend reading this article here, because they answer a lot of simple questions about the Super Adventure Box. But they also mention that you can get the continue coins, you can get them from buying them from Moto. A lot of us know you can get them from doing jumping puzzles. They'll show up in the chests. The shovel, there's a question here about the shovel. I think I just saw a link on Dolphy's website. You can get about 800 or so baubles just from digging in all the different worlds. So it's definitely a useful tool, especially because it's in the same places every time. So I would have, if I were you, I'd have some fun and take a look around and try to figure it out on your own. But if you can't, check out Dolphy's website. She's got a link on how to get to all those. I found a couple of them on my own. Usually, if you've been to an area in the game and you've kind of did this whole like jumping puzzle and you get to this area and it's just blank and there's nothing there, chances are if you dig there, you're going to find baubles. So, and then they have a list of pro tips here. But probably what I would say is the best one is this one. Dodge jump for a little extra height and length. If you ever are in a situation where you don't think you can make that jump, or you've tried and failed, and you're decent at timing dodge jumps, you will get that little bit of extra length and height. And I mean, especially if there's those annoying monkeys throwing bombs, you'll dodge through their bomb mid-jump. So, definitely check that out. Let's see what else we've got. The gem store. We'll come back to the adventure box. But, I don't know if anybody has checked out the minis. They're pretty much just exact replicas of the sprites of the characters you encounter in the Super Adventure Box. So, if you like that, check those out. The finisher, by far the best finisher that I've seen so far to date. For those of you World v Worlders or PvPers, the super explosive finisher is a pixely like mushroom cloud that shows up. And there's the Super Adventure Box of Fun. Honestly, I don't know if I like it that much, because maybe it's just because every time I've gotten one or used one, it was in Radasum, and there was so much culling from all of them that I could never see what happened. Let's see what else. So this is only for this month, so if you do want these, get them now, because they'll be gone at the end of the month. ArenaNet also put out this article here, the music of Super Adventure Box, which is another great harkening back to classic gaming, because a lot of it is taking original Guild Wars music and MIDIing it up and making it 8-bit. So it's pretty cool, because this is a whole article about how they decided to come up with it. And I mean, for those of you audiophiles out there who really like that, I mean, you can. I'm not going to go too much into this because I actually don't know anything about it. But we've got different waves. I mean, this is pretty in-depth, crazy stuff. And I believe if you go, here to their SoundCloud page, they have everything up here right now, where you can just go ahead and play it. You can get what? So if you ever wanted to relive the Super Adventure Box commercial and do your own interaction with them, check this out. And as far as downloading them goes, you should be able to. Yep, right here. You got the little download this sound little link here for those of you in the chat asking. Definitely check this out because they also have their Halloween music, their Winter's Day music, all that is out there. So if you continue to scroll back, or actually right over here on the side, Lost Shores music, Halloween, Super Adventure Box, definitely check those out because you can get a hold of them. Yes, and again, to make Joel and R's point, hello ringtone, definitely some cool stuff. And then this, I actually haven't even had a chance to watch this yet, but this is all about the origin of the Super Adventure Box. I do know a little bit that the person who was in charge of who made the Super Adventure Box was the same person who made the Clock Tower jumping puzzle. And basically, he'd been kind of working on this on the side, and was like, you know, I have this great idea. I'm working on something. You're gonna love it. And then they kind of took it and just ran with it. And now we have the Super Adventure Box. So definitely, you know what? Let's see how long this is. Maybe we'll just watch it now. How about that? 2 minutes. Let's check it out. Why not, right?
I'm Josh Foreman. I'm an environment artist and coordinator for Super Adventure Box. So when I designed the Mad King Clock Tower for Halloween last year, I discovered a whole new world of opportunities that were available when you take a jumping puzzle and you put it into its own map. It's really got the wheels turning, and I was thinking of all the other cool things we could do with that, and that was really the genesis for Super Adventure Box. For a long time, I've been wanting to make an homage to the games I grew up with, the 8 and 16-bit platform and adventure games like, you know, Mario, Zelda, Sonic, Castlevania, Metroid. These are the games that really inspired a generation of people like me to make video games for a living. This was the perfect opportunity to put these ideas together. So we got a team together and we started throwing around all our memories of these past games, all the tropes and cliches that really defined what the medium was in those days. We wanted to kind of build a whimsical world based on our memories of playing video games as kids. And by the time we were done, we had really ended up creating a game within a game. Super Adventure Box exists in Tyria because an Asura inventor named Moto wants to create an alternate form of education for the progeny. So he creates this virtual world that the kids go into, and through an adventure they learn how to, you know, cooperate and interpersonal communication skills. We created some new elements, all new old school UI, weapons and power-ups, enemies, environments. We've got secret bomb walls, shops where you can break everything, buried treasure. Now I know that jumping puzzles are not for everyone, like World v World and PvP, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But for those who still want to enjoy the nostalgia trip without all the heartache, we have an easy mode in there, so you can walk on rainbow bridges over all the difficult parts. Players earn baubles inside the Super Adventure Box, and you can use these to buy in-game items like you know, a candle, bombs, or you can save up your baubles and buy weapon skins that you can take out into Tyria. So I hope you have as much fun inside Super Adventure Box as we had building it.
So that definitely makes me extremely happy to be a Guild Wars 2 fan and a fan of ArenaNet in general. I mean, the love that these devs have for this game, and especially this, the Super Adventure Box, which is, again, it's something that this guy was working on, and I mean, it was it's hilarious to me that this is just going to be something that's there and then it's gone, and look at all the work that they put into this. Also, I'd like to point out that you trade the baubles for a bauble bubble, or a bubble bauble. I forget what it's called, but, you know, reference to Bubble Bobble, by far my absolute favorite NES game. It's over here in my, or did I freeze? I don't know if I froze, but in my desk here, which is made up of all classic video games that are inside it that I built. But yeah, definitely, it makes me happy to be an ArenaNet and Guild Wars 2 fan. And like I said, again, free content. This is free. And, and also, you got to think about the turnaround time on this. Last week, about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they just released the Flame and Frost, the Raising content, which was all those updates to World vs. World. It was the brand new instances, new cutscenes, new skins, all that stuff for Flame and Frost. And then on the 1st of April, or technically on the 31st of March, less than a week later, we have all this new content. So, think about how many long nights they had to put in to make this for us for free, and they're not even charging us for any of this. So, imagine what we're going to get when we get a full paid-for expansion. I can't even imagine what's going to happen for that. So, I think that's pretty much all of the official stuff from ArenaNet regarding the Super Adventure Box. But I saw a couple of people asking for it, so why don't I go ahead and go back over here. So, again, I talk about her all the time, but if you don't know, this is Dolphy.net, Dolphy's website. You can go to her Guild Wars 2 panel here. Sorry, I just saw that Brahm showed up there. Might as well make sure I get him captured for the attendance here. But she's got guides for not only the Super Adventure Box, but just about everything you could imagine, from the skins to stuff for Flame and Frost. She also has a gallery of every weapon skin for all the different weapons. But if you were to come here, if you're looking to get Associate of the baubles, which is where you get all the baubles in a given level, she has them all pointed out with these, there's pictures and images. It shows you how to get all these different things. So definitely come give her website a look through. Shows you how to find all the baubles. There's the how to find all the secrets. Here's the one I was just mentioning earlier today. Look at that, 815 baubles just from digging in all the proper locations. But look at this. To get to these places to go digging for baubles. So, and yeah, Chrono Warper pointed it out, but I'll also bring it up. If you've played the Ascalon, or whatever it's called, the searing-based kind of fractal, where you turn yourself into a char, right at the beginning, you fight a NPC called Siege Master Dolphy, and that's after Dolphy of Dolphy.net here. So, yeah, if you're a fan, if your guild is doing guild missions, guild bounties, things like that, I would come and check out her guild bounty mission guide, where she has all this information. Here's where to find them. You're like, oh, Tumult, where does he show up in the map? Oh, well, here's his path that he walks along. Let me go find him. Makes things a lot easier, that's for sure. Unless it's Yananka, the Rat Wrangler, the absolute worst character in the game. I don't even think this is real. This picture seems fake to me. Because you can never find that NPC. But that is another story entirely. So, my thoughts on the Super Adventure Box. Like I've said so far, absolutely amazing. If you were to check out some of the different skins that people found in the game, on top of the super skins, which are the ones that you saw in the video, that you get to take with you out into Tyria, there's a sword, a great sword, a shield, a scepter, a staff, a longbow and a shortbow. And there's also a back piece as well. So there's we saw, if you looked, I think it was on Reddit, there was a thread that had the hexadecimal codes, well, not hexadecimal, but the codes that you can paste into the chat that you can then preview items. There were a few other ones in there as well. There were all the super skins. There was the stick, but there was also a pair of an 8-bit nunchucks, an 8-bit sword with pixelated fire, and an 8-bit like wooden stick, not like the stick that we have, but like a plank with a nail through the end. So maybe as we get further in the Super Adventure Box, we'll be able to upgrade our stick to, say, a stick with a nail through it, and then a pair of nunchucks. Then ultimately, to fight the final boss, we'll have a sword with pixelated fire. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah. To bring up what. Oh, okay. Brahms here in the chat says, "Lag, I saw an interview with someone at ArenaNet that said they would be adding in all the weapons eventually." So, we'll have to keep an eye out and see what comes up. Again, as I don't believe at this current juncture there is no additional Super Adventure Box content past what we've all seen already: World 1, 2, or World 1 Zone 1, 2, and 3, and then World 2 Zone 1, which isn't really even completed yet. So, we'll have to see what happens as time goes on. But this actually brings me to a total derail of my mental thought train, actually. Wow, I'm sorry, everyone. I would be very surprised if there wasn't a Keep Super Adventure Box Forever petition on the Guild Wars 2 forums. If there's not, someone should go start that, because it should say forever. I mean, it's not even really April Fool's-y like the way some of the other stuff was, where it was clearly a joke. And Wooden Potatoes, which is actually where I was going with my thoughts, so I'm going to write that down. He mentioned that, and I always used to love this, was in the past they always used to make the fake patch notes for Guild Wars 1, where they'd make all these comments about all the different professions. And I kind of wish that they would do the same. I wish they would have done the same thing for Guild Wars 2. Like, I don't know, more, nerfs to, I don't know, Rangers got worse, and then they made Thieves like even more OP, like all the things they used to do. I think the last time I saw an April Fool's thing was like, and nothing more for Paragons in Guild Wars 1. So, actually, that, again, Wooden Potatoes, who I'm sure most of you lore fans out there know, he is actually running a contest, and I think it only lasts till like early next week, I believe, where he did a speed run of the Super Adventure Box from the start to the end. The rules were you can't die during the level. You can't use anything but the stick or bombs. And I believe, and you can stop the video once the level ends and start it up again once the load screen starts for the next world. But I believe he beat it in 9 minutes and 1 second from start all the way through to the toad at the end. And if anybody can send a video to him beating his score of 9 minutes, he's going to send you 50 ectos. So, if you're a speedrunner and a fan of Wooden Potatoes or ectos or Super Adventure Box or all of those, and you think you can beat 9 minutes through the whole thing, check it out. It's an easy, free 50 ectos for you then. So, we found, yes, it does sound like a job for Lovegood. YouTube, I think it's just /Wooden Potatoes. So, I'm not sure. Like I said, I believe he uploaded the video earlier this week, I think Tuesday, and he said by this time next week, so it should be just early next week. So check it out. And I keep forgetting what I wanted to say, and it makes me sad. Let me check my show notes. That might be a good idea. There was some other news on Guild Wars 2 Guru regarding state of the game updates for World versus World, as there always are. And actually, I guess, that's something I kind of wanted to talk about, was I've gone in and I've played a little bit of World versus World, because I mentioned last show that there was that Tarnished Coast Omega Golem March, which kind of got set back when they lost a bunch of golems due to a patch and a game reset. But it was actually really fun to run around and play in World versus World. I gotta say, I like the new the progression system. Yes, it's kind of unnecessary, but at the same time, it is nice to have that kind of progression there. And it was really easy. Within maybe 2 hours, 3 hours of playing, I managed to get about 3 or 4 levels on my Elementalist, which isn't even really my main character. So I definitely would invite people to at least give it a try, especially if you were like kind of a fan of World versus World and you were kind of iffy. It's definitely fun. Everybody loves being a completionist. I mean, don't lie. Everybody wants to get their character to 80. They want to have all ascended gear. Just whether or not how fast you do it is really the determining factor. So, yeah, I'm coming up on 45 minutes here, and I really don't have much more that I want to say about the Super Adventure Box, other than it's amazing. Check it out. Oh, and I guess I should point out that you can complete it solo if you just go straight in by yourself. But you could bring 4 other friends along, which, I mean, who doesn't want to go play in an 8-bit awesome land with your friends? So, you know what? This is another thing I would say. If you have friends that played Guild Wars and kind of fell out of it, and you want to try to bring them back in, do Super Adventure Box. If you have friends that are like, I don't know about this Guild Wars game, I'm not really a fan of MMOs, oh, what's this ArenaNet company, I never really heard of them, I would show them the Super Adventure Box and be like, you know what, sit down. You don't even really need to know too much of how to play Guild Wars to just know how to, if you ever played a PC game and know how to move with your keyboard and mouse, this is going to be a fairly easy game for you to play. And then tell them that this is something that they gave us for free as a joke for April Fool's Day. Let's see how serious this game is, and they take it. And then I'm sure they're going to want to be like, alright, well, this is pretty great. Let's see what else this Guild Wars game has to offer. So, I would definitely check it out. So that kind of brought me to what I want to do as my question of the week for this week, which I kind of picked this up from some videos I was watching online, and I think I might actually, instill put out a prize for this question of the week, because honestly I'm not getting any responses from anybody anyway, so I might as well try to incentivize people with a prize. So the best answers are accepted at hosts@chroniclesoftyria.com. So for 1 gold, in-game gold, I want to know your top 5 time-consuming games. Now, when I say time-consuming, I don't mean tedious, annoying games that just take forever to beat. I mean games that literally consume your time. And what I mean by that is, like, you sit down, you're like, oh, let me sit down, you pick up your controller, you sit at your keyboard, and you go, I'll play for 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, at like 7:30 at night. And then you're like, oh man, you look over at the clock and it's 11 a.m. the next morning. And you're just like, what happened? Where did all that time go? I don't feel like I've only been sitting here for 5 minutes and half of my day is gone. You sit down and it's 12 hours later. So I want you to it's all tied into the Super Adventure Box, because this just makes me think of all the times I spent growing up playing my original Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and just playing for hours, playing my Game Boy, So for 1 in-game gold, I want a list of your top 5 time-consuming video games, and the best answer will get 1 gold. So how about that? That's a little something different, not exactly Guild Wars related, but I'll throw in a little incentive there. Trying to judge the chat. I'm getting some question marks and things, but I don't know what everybody thinks of that. But we'll see what happens. And you know what? When I post the video on YouTube, I will post my top 5 time-consuming video games. Because I was trying to think of them during the show, and I only have 2, and I'm not really sure the order that I want to put them in there. And I have so many games that I sat down and played for hours. So submit them to me. Everybody can enter. It doesn't matter if you're in the guild, out of the guild, officer or not. And also 5. No, none of this 6, 7 crap where people said, well, I can't really tell. I will accept things like trilogy, like if it's like the Mass Effect trilogy I sat down and played for countless hours. I'll count that. Like, you don't have to break out Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 as different games. So, things like that. But yeah, send them to me. You have until next Tuesday, at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Next Tuesday is the cutoff date. So send those over to me, and I will consider that, and the winner will get 1 gold in game. And one of the last things I kind of want to leave you all with is just kind of a question. For those of you that are fans of CoTPodcast, fans of Chronicles of Tyria, the guild, the forums, the writers, anything like that, would you at all be interested in any kind of the availability to get COT-based merchandise, whether it be a coffee mug or a t-shirt or mouse pad or pens, pencils, whatever, notebooks? Would that actually interest any of you here in the chat? I'm just curious, because it's something I've been thinking about for a while, and I wasn't sure if there would be any interest in that. Buttons, sure. Okay, all right. Button, yeah, sure. I mean, I've been talking about it with Naveen for a while. Also, if you're an artist out there in our guild or otherwise, a fan of Chronicles of Tyria, and you want to make some cool COT or whatever based art for us to possibly, sell COT-wise, let me know. Send us your art. I mean, we already know we can see Jolinar makes these beautiful things here around us. So we could make funny Quaggan shirts or whatever. But you know what? If they become popular enough and enough people want them and we end up making stuff like that, we can give those away as prizes for the little things we do here on the podcast. So I'd love to, if you guys have ideas for things you think would be cool to make COT-wise, send them to me in any of the ways you can contact me. YouTube messages, host at chroniclesoftyria.com, Lagwyn, chroniclesoftyria.com, on our forums, in game, whatever. Just let me know, because, like I said, I've been thinking about this, and I've talked about wanting to make CoTPodcast and Chronicles of Tyria grow. So that's another way I think I could do that. And yes, Al Carolina brings up a good point. ArenaNet recently posted a video from Foostival over in France, where some fans hosted like a fan kind of convention, gathering of Guild Wars 2 community sites. And we've, here at Chronicles of Tyria, have talked quite a bit about making a Guild Con or a Tyria Con or something like that, and trying to figure out who would be interested in something like that. And you're absolutely right, Alec Carnolina. Selling them at a con that we organize would be great. So yeah, I will keep. And if you have ideas like this, and you are interested or would be interested in attending a Guild Wars 2 based convention, if we could, and I'm sure if we mentioned it to ArenaNet, they'd go for it and probably probably want to help us out a little bit, maybe send some people, stream us some stuff. So if that's something that interests you guys, let me know. I've been talking about it. I've been talking a pretty big game about getting this going, but I'm serious about it. I would like to schedule a convention, find a convention center, but I mean, I don't want to fund it all out of my own pocket, so if, as best I can, try to get vendors and people to come in. If you know people, if you have ideas for panels and things that you think you would like to do, stuff like that, let me know, and we'll see if we can't try to make something happen. And I will talk to Alacardelina a lot about it because she's awesome. So yeah, like I said, you know. But if you guys can't make it live to any of the stuff like that, if we actually end up doing something like this, might not be about, we can try to live stream stuff. I mean, you can see, I mean, look at me, how far I've come with the streaming capabilities. I've shown videos and playing music. I learned that all half an hour before the show. So, I can always try and stream what I can, things like that. So, we'll see. But, you know, I will be around for probably a half an hour after the show in game if people want to talk, or I'll be in the COT raid call chat if anybody wants to talk about anything. So you guys let me know. But I think I'm going to bring this show to a close before it runs too long and I start rambling more than I already have. So, thanks again, everyone. But if you, so this for, wow. You know, I think I'm going to make a disclaimer at the beginning for those of you playing like the COT drinking game. Please drink responsibly. Not responsible for anything that is in turn from that happens in turn from this Chronicles of Tyria drinking game. So I'll do like a quick speak really fast with a little asterisk over the beginning. COT shot glasses. We could have a lot of fun. We'll see what happens. The panel, if we do a panel at our little convention, it'd be pretty crazy. So yes, if you have idea for merchandise, please send it to me. I'm gonna work on. I don't want to use Cafe Press, but they're one of the best resources to come up with as much crazy things as you want. I might talk about it more on our forums and talk to people if they want to do like a run. Like if I can get people to a bunch of people that'll commit and be like, I want a t-shirt, and I can get like 15 people to say they want a t-shirt, I'll go out and we'll order a run of t-shirts and sell them at whatever it costs. So I'm digressing. You guys are getting me all excited and I'm just running off on tangents and things like that. So let's try to reel it back in. I guess this is reeling, not whatever that was. So for Chronicles of Tyria, episode number 41, Super Adventure Box and Lagwyn Rambles. I'm Lagwyn, and I'm by myself again. Nobody else to talk to. I will see you next time. But to outro the show, I leave you with this.